How many times have you heard horror stories about baby having cord around the neck and not being able to be delivered vaginally, or being suffering because of the cord was too tight around the neck? In today's video, I'm gonna try to explain you why you don't have to fear this event that is simply a variation of the normality. Hi mama, my name is Ilenia and I've been a midwife for the past 6 years, helping women during their pregnancy, their birth and their postpartum journey. Today we're gonna talk about a topic that creates a lot of fear and anxiety in future moms, mainly because of the culture and the horror stories that are around it. I'm talking about the cord around the neck. With this expression we refer to the umbilical cord, which is a tube-like structure that contains 2 arteries and 1 vein that provides baby with oxygen in exchange of carbon dioxide during the intrauterine life. And we refer to it as being wrapped around the baby's knuckle, the baby's neck. Now, it is actually very, very common. It is found in roughly 40% of births. So you can imagine that it rarely causes troubles, because if so many babies are born with it, then why will it be something that we need to be concerned of? I have assisted countless of births with babies delivered with the cord around the neck, even by 1, by 2, by 3 turns, and I've seen so many times this not causing any trouble on the neonatal outcomes. I'm gonna explain you why. The cord is wrapped into this white substance that you see here, this jelly substance that is called the gelatin of Wharton, that protects the cord from hits, from hurts, from squish, from any kind of assault that can happen in the cord during the intrauterine life. So a lot of mamas are worried with the cord around the neck that baby is actually gonna have trouble to breathe because the cord is kind of like too tight around the baby's neck. Now, babies don't breathe in the womb. Their lungs are silent and they are developed and ready to work properly when they are in the outside world. So the main concern should be that the cord kind of get compressed around the neck with the contractions. And we can see it sometimes showing it if you are having a continuous fetal monitoring attached to you during labor. We can see a form of lowering of the fetal heart rate that we call deceleration happening. And sometimes we say, oh, baby must have the cord around the neck if he's doing that. They are highly physiological and they do not cause any harm to a healthy term baby. And baby is actually showing that baby is able to respond properly to the squishing that happens either in its fetal head or in the cord by lowering the heart frequency. This is why we rarely get worried when we see this type of acceleration, and this is why we rarely intervene via cesarean birth if we suspect that the cord is around the neck. At birth, if the cord is kind of preventing the delivery on the shoulder, then the midwife will just unloop it and uncoil it, slipping it through the head. Or if the loops are more than 1, then you can just leave it there, deliver the shoulders, and then eventually free the baby from the cord. But it's something that we do as a part of our assistance and midwifery care, and we don't even pay attention to it in terms of that we don't get worried when we see it. Now, there is something that can be done if the cord is extremely tight and it prevents the delivering of the shoulder. And by this I mean clamping and cutting the cord while the baby's body is still inside mom's body. As you can imagine, we highly try to avoid it because we don't want to take away baby's main source of oxygen while its body is not even out yet. And personally, in my 6 years as a midwife, I've never seen it done. And I was able to assist births of babies with even 1 or 2, 3 turns of cord wrapped very tightly around their neck. The cord can also be wrapped somewhere else in the body. We call it scarf cord when it's wrapped like a scarf around the neck, but not doing a 360 degrees turn. They can wrapped around the limbs and the hand or the feet. They can be like a belt around the belly. Are they preventable? Not really. There is not much that you can do. Thankfully, babies in the womb move constantly and a lot, and so it's highly likely that they can be wrapped at some point during the pregnancy with their cord, but then they're usually able to uncoil themselves and free themselves before birth. They're way smarter than we think. Can they be seen during the ultrasound? Yes, however, there is a higher chance of false positive, because even if you think that you see it, then it might just be not accurate, or if you don't see it, then you are kind of reassured, and then 5 minutes after, then the baby gets wrapped again with the cord. It is kind of an easy excuse that some providers use to justify a section, like babies wasn't coming down, oh, the cord was too tight around the neck, or even for stillbirths, unfortunately, when there is no apparent reason for a baby passing away before its birth, then we heard a lot saying, oh, but the cord was around the neck. Stillbirths, in fact, are rarely caused directly by the cord being around the neck, are probably more commonly due to infections or placenta defects. But sometimes a higher percentage of stillbirths is actually of unknown causes, and then it's easy to blame the cord around the neck for that, causing a lot of fear and a lot of misconceptions around this topic that kind of impacts your pregnancy if you're worried about it. There are two complications related with the cord that actually are worth mentioning now that I'm talking about the umbilical cord. One being the true knot, which is simply actually like the word says, a knot that is created in the cord if the baby is super very active and kind of loops itself. And although it rarely causes problems, I've seen a lot of babies being born with this knot, even 1 or 2 knots, not showing any sign of distress on the monitoring. Sometimes if they get too tight, then they can prevent the blood flow from going from the placenta to the baby, or vice versa, causing even stillbirth sometimes. The second thing that can happen with the cord that requires immediate and urgent care is the cord prolapse. When the water breaks, for some reason, in a very low percentage, the cord can actually be prolapsed in front of the baby's head. This causes let's say this is the uterus or the vagina wall even, this causes the fetal head to put a lot of pressure, especially during the contraction, on the cord that is actually in front of its head, causing the need for an immediate delivery. Also via cesarean birth if the birth is not imminent, because baby is left with a very short amount of oxygen and the time frame to act is actually very, very short. If you find yourself at home, laboring at home, or if your water breaks and then suddenly you see the cord hanging out from your vagina, then put yourself into a knee to chest position and call the emergency services straight away, because you need emergent care straight away. However, thankfully, the cord prolapse is a very rare complication that happens usually more in preterm babies or in breech babies, and not in normal term cephalic babies in labor. That's all for this video, Mama. I hope that it was helpful in order to let you properly respond to those horror stories that you're gonna be exposed for sure during your pregnancy. The cord around the neck rarely has negative impact on the baby's outcomes. I'll see you next video. Bye bye.